Have you ever wondered what it would feel like to fly like a bird? Well, many people have, and they've taken to drones to be able to try and scratch that itch. There are two main types of drones that you can purchase right now. On one side, you've got the DJI camera drones. These things are beautiful, and they have so many safety features to allow you to fly safely and mainly not crash, getting you beautiful video and photos. In the other world though, you have FPV drones. These things are fun, fast, much harder to control, but do give you that first person view, hence the name. Up until now, these worlds really haven't collided. You could either have one or the other. More recently, we've had products like the DJI FPV that have tried to marry those two worlds together, but it has had a massive price tag, and honestly, the product that was received just wasn't very good. Thankfully though, we are actually going to take a look at a product today that promises to marry these two worlds together, and that is DroneMask. This is basically just a little housing for your phone that you can pop your phone into and then fly your camera drones as if they were FPV drones, giving you a whole new perspective on the world, and that is super exciting. This thing comes in at $170 though, and that's quite a lot of money. So before you go ahead and spend all of your money on these, I wanted to do a full review and let you know exactly what you get in the box, how I've enjoyed them, and whether I think they're worth that rather high price tag. Hello everybody, my name is Robert, and this is Review Clue. Okay, so here we are with the DroneMask box. Of course, on the front you do see a picture of those goggles, as well as one of the interesting features which I'll tell you a little bit more about later. On the top, it gives you an idea of some of its specs and what you're going to get inside, as well as it being rather comfortable and all of that. On the back, it tells you how to get set up with it, but instead of looking around the box, let's go ahead and open it up and find out exactly what we get. So pulling off the lid, we do see designed in Norway there. This is a Norwegian product. I have been following them for a very, very long time. They were originally not a drone company, or a drone goggles company, but I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. Of course, in the top, we have the goggles themselves. What else have we got in here? We have a little thank you card, which just says thanks for being a part of this and for buying their product. We of course have a cleaning cloth for that lens, as well as an instruction manual. There really is no instruction required because it is super duper easy to set up and use. So it is really nice that this comes with a bag, because you're not going to be wanting to take the box around everywhere with you. Instead, you can just take the bag alone, and it's just much easier to carry. So let's open it up and take a look at the headset itself. So there we have it. It's this little black number. I'm just going to adjust my brightness a bit. There we go. It's this nice little black number here. On the front, we of course see that Velcro, as well as the DroneMask logo. On the top, you don't see much other than the zipper to unzip and actually place your phone into the headset. On the sides, you've got nothing. On the bottom, you have an IPD adjustment, little dial there, as well as the strap itself as well. So let's take a look at that lens. And that is one lens there. This is why this is so different to VR headsets on the market. Of course, you could go ahead and buy a VR headset, one of the really cheap Google Cardboard ones. I don't have one to hand, but I'll show you a picture of one and you'll get the idea. They are two separate lenses. And for 3D content, that is perfect. But the DJI Mini 2 and 3 don't have 3D cameras. Therefore, having a singular large lens like this one is actually better for viewing that sort of content. So when it comes to actually setting up the phone, we can open up the front and we see two little pegs here. If I grab my phone, I'm able to just go one and grab the other side two. That's it. It really is that simple to set up. Then when we're ready, we just zip it all up, and you're ready to fly or do whatever else you want to do with one of these headsets. Now, of course, you're already seeing one issue here, and that is there's no way to actually interact with the phone. So you've got to do all of that setup in the DJI app or whatever else app you're using, and then you've got to place the headset on. It is a little bit of a faff, but it is a small price to pay. So what we can do is you'll notice that we're able to pull this apart to make the screen further away or closer to help with focusing. They say the display can go up to about 45 or 50 inches, which is pretty massive. Of course, it's not actually that big, but the perspective makes it feel about that big. The strap itself follows a very similar story to that of the Oculus Quest, where you've got two on the side and one on the top. They are super easy to adjust and fairly soft, if a little bit elasticy. So we can see some of the padding around the sides here. This is pretty soft padding, but I think it probably could be softer, especially coming from some of the more premium VR headsets. Remember, this thing is $170. However, the rest of the fabric is actually really well designed. It's soft-shelled, but is hard where it needs to be, for example, on the edges. So on the top, feels very hollow, but on the sides, feels slightly less. So there we have it. We can go ahead and just unzip my phone and let's get it out. And I can show you removing that little Velcro piece for any AR work that you might be doing. So it really is just as easy as pulling it out, and then your phone can go back in, and your phone is now able to view through that little window. It is of course not quite built for the iPhone 13s or the 12s with its 3-camera setup. This shouldn't matter too much, however. It should still give you a pretty good AR performance if you're looking to use it for that. But of course most people are using it for drones. So let's go ahead and head back over to the seat. I will get this thing put on and then we'll go out and fly with it. I'm super excited to get this thing out into the air, just to find out what my drone sees from my perspective. So now we've had our really quick look at it, let's go ahead and pop it on and see exactly how comfortable it can be. It's obviously got the really nice Oculus style strap, 2 on the sides and 1 on the top. And it can simply just be placed on like a VR headset, and feels very similar too. It is incredibly soft. There's a lot of padding around the front and the sides, and it's not quite as soft as some of the VR headsets I've used, but for the most part it feels pretty good. There is quite a lot of pressure on the main part of my nose here, but that could probably be alleviated by adjusting the straps. And if you've done this with a VR headset, you'll know what to expect. There we go. So straight away, just pulling that back slightly has really helped. Now what I'm going to actually do is just unzip the front here, and you can see me. There we go. There's that large lens on the front that we discussed a little bit about earlier. So let's get my phone into it, go off for a fly, and I will tell you exactly how I got on with it and whether I think it's worth that price tag. Okay, so you can see I've got the cable coming out of there now. It's all set up and ready to go. I've done all of my drone setup, it's on the floor and it's ready to fly. Of course, I can't do anything with the screen, so I've made sure that all prompts and everything is ready to go. So all I need to do is put the headset on, adjust it so everything is in focus, and then I'm pretty much ready to fly. I can push both sticks down and in and take the drone up into the air. And now, what I'm going to say immediately is this is pretty impressive, mainly because it's black all around other than the display itself, of course, and that is leading to quite an immersive experience. I like that I'm not getting any kind of sun glare. I can see everything that I need to very clearly. Even the UI is nice and clear. I can see my height, I can see my speed, I can see the map, everything that I need to when I'm flying. I must say it does feel a little bit disorienting though, just because I'm not really used to this. I'm used to VR where I can look around. I've mentioned this before, but because this is a fixed viewpoint, it is a little bit disorienting. I think it's going to take me a little while to get used to it. Most people who aren't used to FPV flight probably aren't going to be used to this. So just flying this around, I do love this headset. I feel like it's brilliant for this use case. However, $170 for this particular use case is quite an ask. However much I'm enjoying this, I don't feel like it would be worth that high price tag if all you're going to be doing is using it for FPV. Would I spend $170 on these? That's a really good question. Of course, as I mentioned before, you technically could just go with a really cheap pair of VR headsets, like a Google Cardboard. This would work for the most part, but you will need a way to split up the stream into two different eyes, otherwise it's not going to look quite right. So what you're actually paying for here is that singular pane of glass, giving you a much better AR experience than you would a VR one. So outside of it being some drone goggles, does it have any other kind of functions? And yes, it does. This is of course just a way to view your phone's content. So it could be a personal cinema for you, and that's up to a 55-inch display. That is massive. And actually I quite enjoyed using it just in that sense as well. I could connect it up to my PlayStation 4 or my Xbox One through many of the streaming services and have a much more private gaming experience. Same with any of the films that I was watching in the evening, so I didn't have to disturb my partner while she was asleep. Now you may notice on the front here, there's actually a piece of Velcro. If we pull that off, it gives you a little cutout. That is of course for your cameras, and that's where originally this product came into its own. It was never really built as a drone headset because at the time, drones really weren't commercially successful. It was, however, an AR headset for your phone. Basically, you stuck your phone in this and you could see through into the real world, and you'd be able to use AR Core or AR Kit to create some really unique AR experiences. It can, of course, still do all of that, it's just you don't really have a way of controlling it because you don't have a controller or you can't touch the screen to interact with things. So if used with a third-party controller, it could be a really compelling buy. If you're just hoping to buy this as an FPV drone goggles, I really do not recommend them because of that massively high price tag. If, however, you're going to be using it for some of those other aspects as well, be that a private cinema or maybe even some of the AR functions for both development and for consuming of that AR content, these are second to none and I think are actually well worth that price tag. It's clear that a lot of time and money was spent to make this thing comfortable and as user-friendly as possible, and they've certainly succeeded on those two fronts. Anyway guys, let me know in the comments section down below what you thought of these goggles. Do you think they're a little bit of a fad, and do you think that a VR goggles would do just as well? Or do you think that this truly is the future of flying drones? Anyway guys, my name's been Robert, this has been Review Clue, and I will catch you in the next one. Adios.